Hello, Global Talk.
How was your long weekend, sir?
It was, I guess, fair.
Yeah?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Relaxing.
Yeah, stayed
doing
home?
nothing. I did.
Nice.
Just doing nothing.
Oh, that's a good thing, isn't it?
Something I've been looking forward to for quite some time.
Chuseok, that's what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
But didn't get to do it.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you got to do it this time around. All right, it's good to see you, Dr. Kim. Let's
Great to
start
see you.
with a quiz question, if we could, please.
Okay, quiz for today is this. The organization comprised of oil exporting countries is, number one, the OPEC. Number two, the FIFA.
One more time, please.
The organization comprised of oil exporting countries is, number one, the OPEC. Number two, the FIFA.
Thank you, sir. If you know the answer, put it on our Bandi board or use Kakao Talk or text in on your cell phone, pounder sharp 1045 for 50 or 101, depending on the length of your text. We are giving away an iRiver portable portable 칫솔 살균기. Goodness me. 발음이 안 좋죠.
Just one time.
Okay, so let's get started. What are we talking about today? OPEC, right?
OPEC.
Last Thursday, the group of major oil-producing countries, otherwise known as OPEC, agreed on production cuts.
Right.
This usually means that oil prices will go up, right? But the people who are watching the world's economy, they're quite happy about the agreement, they say. So can you explain?
Right. In Korea, for decades, every time oil price goes up, it's bad thing for Korea because Korea is a export-oriented country, and oil price hike means price rise of everything. Our export gets expensive. We suffer. That has been the story for decades until up to several years ago. For the past several years since 2008 world financial crisis, Korea has learned when the oil price drops sharply, that hurts us as well because Korea is exporting a lot to oil-producing countries in terms of, oil tankers, facilities, their plants, and all these things. And also oil price, drop means also overall slowdown of the global economy as well. So for the past several years, we've been suffering because of the low oil price. Oil price used to be, if we think about it, up until like year 2013 or 14, about 100 to 120 barrels per, $100 to $120 per barrel. And then around the time of 2014, 2015, the price dropped, price was cut almost by half, like 50 to 40 dollars per barrel. It was a sharp drop.
For people who drive, this is a good thing for individuals because you will pay less at the pump. At the pump means at the gas station.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, or the overall big picture, it's not good for the economy. Right?
Exactly. Korean, individual consumers, I mean, there are a lot of drivers out there too. But at the same time, there have been complaints that, when actually world oil price drops, Korea's petroleum price, gas price doesn't really drop as much anyway. So that's one side of the story. But overall, now last Wednesday and Thursday, OPEC countries agreed on cutting off about 700,000 barrels per day of production from the current level of their total of 33 million barrels per day. So it's not that big, but still, this was the first such agreement in about, since 2008. So first time in 8 years. So indeed, Korean economic actors, companies, and those people active in Korean economy are now saying maybe we will see a little bit of a brighter light in a way at the end of the tunnel.
Well, OPEC back in the 70s and 80s was a major power player, but maybe not so much anymore, not as much as it used to be.
That's what they're saying. 70s, 80s, Middle Eastern crisis, OPEC's action meant, oil crisis. That's what we had experienced, several decades ago. But now the thing is, OPEC, when you add up all the production capabilities of OPEC members, they only account for these days less than 50, about 43% of the world oil production. So even though they act together, there are other major players. Today's quiz for Steve. Which country is the largest oil-producing country in the world these days?
Oh, let's see. Saudi Arabia?
That would be the usual guess, right? The United States is. Saudi Arabia is the
The
second
United
largest.
States is the world's largest oil producer.
It is. It has been that way for the several years.
Is that right?
That has been driving the oil price down because the United States is the largest consumer of oil, but because they're producing on their own, the price has been going down. That has been one driver for that. United States tops the list of oil production. Saudi Arabia follows that. Russia is number 3, and then China is number 4. Canada is your country number 5, and then comes the second largest OPEC producing country comes as number 6. That's the United Arab Emirates. And then Iran, Iraq. And then after that, Brazil, which is not OPEC country. And then Mexico, number 10, non-OPEC country. So this shows that the picture has changed since the 70s and 80s. So even though OPEC countries act together, they can't make as much of difference. These are 14 oil exporting countries, and these countries don't make as much difference as they did before.
All right, we'll listen to a song before that, though. Can we have your quiz question one more time, please, Dr.
Quiz
Kim?
question. The organization comprised of oil exporting countries is number 1, the OPEC, number 2, the FIFA.
Thank you very much. Again, use our Bandi board or Kakao Talk or text in on your cell phone, pounder sharp 1045 for 50 or 101, depending on the length of your text. We're giving away an iRiver portable Chisol 살균기. We'll talk more about OPEC after... I can't. What's wrong with my pronunciation? I just said OPEC. 한 잔 주세요. It's voucher 하모 details.
You need a coffee.
왜 그래요? Tuesday morning. We're talking about oil today with Dr. Kim in Hello Global Talk, and we'll get back to it now. They say that we've had a world oil glut since 2014.
Right.
So is this all because of the global economic slowdown that we, I guess, have been experiencing since back to 2008, I guess?
Right. That was one global economic slowdown. China, for example, has been, using their use of oil. The growth rate has been slowing down. And the United States, they've been pumping a lot of oil because of the new fracking technology. You shoot water horizontally and get the oil out rather than drilling and then pumping out.
Which, by the way, I think we should cover the topic of fracking
We should.
In the segment one day. It's a scary and fascinating topic.
Right.
But anyway, yes.
So the overall demand was kind of slowing and then supply was going up. And China, as I mentioned, has been producing their oil quite actively. And there have been other oil producers joining in. So supply has been going up. Another thing was Saudi Arabia. Within OPEC, some of the smaller players have been saying, well, maybe we should cut down our supply so that we can push the price up. And Saudi Arabia, from the time of 2014 or so, has been arguing, no, we want to keep our price low because they didn't say this outright, but the observers noticed that Saudi Arabia wanted to drive the U.S. producers out because U.S. producers, their production cost is relatively higher, and Saudi Arabia wanted to keep the oil price low to keep them out or drive them out. So, that's one theory there. But anyway, so overall, all these situations combined have caused overall the oil price remaining really low. The sudden drop from $100 to $120 per barrel to $50 per barrel around the time of 2014, and then it has stayed that way, and that's what they call glut.
So what does all of this mean then for renewable energy sources? Because we're constantly hearing in the news about different forms of energy. So what effect does this have on that?
Right. Interesting point here is that pro-environmentalists, those people who care about environmental issues, they think if we can keep oil price high, it will help us in terms of developing renewable energy and other kind of alternative forms of energy. And they say, I have just mentioned, right, the Saudi Arabian decision 2014 to keep the oil price low. They say that actually hurts those people's efforts to come up with environmentally friendlier measures to replace the fuel the fossil fuel use.
Why, though, I wonder?
Because when the oil is cheaper, people will continue to use it. Their dependence on oil will remain in place. So interesting thing is those people who care about the environment want actually oil price to go up.
Because lower oil prices, well, that doesn't inspire people to want to use alternative sources of energy.
Exactly.
I
And
understand.
alternatives remain more expensive when you have a cheap oil price. So that's why it looks like there's a consensus around the world that, we probably want higher oil price in an interesting way.
I see. It's an interesting topic, and one that is constantly in the news, it seems, right?
Exactly.
Dr. Kim, can we have the answer to your quiz question, please?
Answer to the question, the organization comprised of oil exporting countries is, of course, number one, the OPEC.
OPEC is the answer, and the iRiver Portable Chisol Salgyungi will go to Kim Han-ul Nim. Dr. Kim was saying during the song break that OPEC would be the organization of beer exporting countries, right?
Entirely different countries. than
Yeah,
Saudi
entirely
Arabia.
different industry, right?
Right. Something you may prefer a little bit better.
Perhaps,
right?
yeah. Dr. Kim, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good week, sir. We'll see you next time.
Same to you too. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.